excited about our win, proud of the guys. It wasn't the cleanest game, a lot like the last two, but really proud that we didn't play our best on offense. When you can run the ball and you take care of the ball and you play better defense, you win the kicking game, you still got a chance to win the game. And we haven't been able to do that around here in the last few years. We've had to outscore people, and that wasn't the case on Saturday. Even scored a touchdown on defense, which is something that I'm very, very proud of. So stopping the run is a defense, forcing turnovers, we forced 3, and then scoring on defense, winning the kicking game and running the ball well is the reason that we won the game on Saturday night. So glad that we're bowl eligible for the 6th straight year. Obviously that's not the ultimate goal, but it is a goal, and there will be a lot of teams that won't have that opportunity, and with 2 games left, we're bowl eligible, and that was in question a few weeks ago. So really proud that the guys continue to compete. They get more confidence each week, and they found a way to win. And as we said, we outrushed them. We won the turnover battle, and we won special teams. Had a few chances to put them away, especially when it was 31-17. And I was disappointed we didn't do that. That's something we talked to the team about. You got to put your foot on the gas and go put somebody away when you've got them on the run. And Wake Forest had a backup quarterback, and they're not a throwing team as such where they're a 1-minute offense. So it would have put a tremendous amount of pressure on them to get another score. And you got to give Dave Clawson and Wake Forest credit at the same time. They kept fighting. They played great. They played hard. They played really good on defense. They played with a high level of intensity the entire game, and that's the way Dave coaches, and that's the way their team plays, and I've always admired what he does. They do an unbelievable job of evaluating, so give them credit. They've got a great program. Offensively, we had Omarion had 244 yards rushing. We gave up too many sacks. We gave up 5, and I don't know where that came from. 2 of them on the goal line on the first drive after the fake punt, which we should have scored touchdown there and give Wake credit in that situation. And we need to score more touchdowns in the red zone. We were 3 out of 5, and that's not good enough. And Wake Forest is good on 3rd and 4th down situations, and they're good on red zone defense. And they did a better job than we did in those situations. Proud that we held them to 114 yards rushing. Defense has really done a great job the last 3 weeks of stopping the run, and their running back's as good as any. He's really, really good. Guy's quick, he's powerful, he can jump sideways. I was more impressed with him even after the game than watching him on video leading into it. We forced 2 sacks. It's hard to sack them with their offense because they're so much of it's the slow mesh and coming off of it with play action. But we disrupted the quarterback a lot, and then forced the 3 turnovers, 1 for a touchdown and the other one led to a touchdown with a short field by our offense. So 14 points came off of the turnovers. Special teams, we won the special teams. We had a strong kicking game with Lucas kicking every ball out of the back of the end zone. I think there were 5, and then he had the squib that was a really good squib that went into the end zone. Tom McGinnis did an outstanding job punting. So much of it's operation and placement, and he seems to get better every week, and he punted the ball into where our gunners could do a great job, and the gunners did a great job with that, and then our guys got the onside kick at the end of the game, and Kamen Rucker did a tremendous job because that was an unusual kick. It was a great kick. It was perfect for what they did, and could have been put our defense in a really tough spot if we hadn't gotten it. We had more penalties than we've had the last 2 weeks. And it's funny, this is the same officiating crew we had for James Madison. We had a lot of penalties that night. So some crews call more penalties than others. That's just what happens. It's really strange to see the personality of crews. Some like to throw flags and some don't. And that's just what you get. So Wake Forest is not a team that's penalized very much. We're not a team that's penalized very much. And we both had a whole lot of penalties in this game. So you have to look at that as you start evaluating how disciplined your team played. We did have 3 balls on the ground, which is concerning. We haven't had that. So we got them, but we got 2 of the 3. But we've got to protect the ball better, and we've got to protect the quarterback better. Offensively, Howard Sampson played his best game. He played really, really well. Paul Billups did a great job downfield blocking, was very physical, and John Copenhaver had an outstanding game. So we're really, really proud of those 3 guys. They were the 3 best players outside of Omarion. Omarion, again, 244 yards, 7 yards per carry, a touchdown, 183 yards after contact. He's just one of the great players in college football and really college football history. He passed Don McCauley and Kelvin Bryant, 2 icons in our program, for the 5th place at UNC. He's 78 yards. He needs 78 yards to become only the 4th ACC player over the last 20 years with back-to-back 1,500 yards rushing. The others are Travis Etienne, Dalvin Cook, and Lamar Jackson. So that's a pretty good list to be in. So very, 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 very proud of him. Yeah. And it's been since 18 and 19 seasons since the last player did that. So very, very proud of Omarion. He's protected the ball. He's caught the ball well. He's done everything perfect for us, and he's just having a tremendous year. And again, 78 yards away from getting that 1,500 yards for back-to-back years, which is so hard to do. And then defensively, power. Let's first. Travis Shaw played by far his best game. He played great. Really proud of him. He stopped the run. He batted the ball. Josh Harris was also a guy who played his best game by far, and those guys were really, really needed up front. And Marcus Allen played great. So he had the unbelievable interception, the play that he was called for pass interference. There wasn't contact. So that'll be something that we'll turn in, obviously, to the ACC office. But very, very proud of Travis. He's come so far. He's getting to a point now that he's playing up to expectations. Ted Monachino's done a tremendous job with him. Josh Harris has been a tremendous addition for us. He's playing really, really well. And Marcus Allen just continues to get better. Defensive player of the game was Power Eccles. He had 8 tackles, interception for a touchdown, and really, really played at a high level, and he does each week. But in this week, he separated himself from the other guys. Special teams players that played so well, our gunners, our cover people, Malcolm Ziegler, Elijah Huzzy, and Chris Culliver did an outstanding job because they were one of the best in the country at punt returns, and they didn't have a return. So field position game was really critical. Tom punted the ball inside the 20 twice, and that helped us with field position because we were playing good defense. So really, really proud of those guys. And we said Kamen Rucker made the outstanding play on the onside kick to close the game out. The special teams players of the week were Lucas Oseda and Tom McGinnis. Lucas 5 for 5 with touchbacks and had the one great squib. And Tom had 5 punts that were fair caught, and again 2 inside the 20. So really, really proud of those guys because kicking game is better than it's been since we've been here. And that's helping us win football games. Bill O'Brien's a really good football coach. He took over at Penn State right after Coach Paterno was stepped out and did an amazing job. I think there were 15 and 9, and a lot of those guys transferred, and it was a very difficult time for Penn State, and he was a stabilizing force. And then he became the head coach of the Houston Texans, so he's got outstanding experience. He's a guy I've gotten to know over the last year because of him becoming a head coach in our league and seeing him at meetings, and I really admire him. I admire what he does. He's a tremendous game planner offensively. They're going to run the ball. They're going to be tough. They're going to use play action. They've got a tremendous scheme on defense. They're run very, very much like a pro team. They're a 3-4 defense that with Tim Lewis, who is an outstanding coach, and they will get after you. So they're very physical. They're very well coached. He's got tons of experience in this business, and you can see that when he game plans. And they're very aggressive. I think they've kicked 2 field goals all year. So they're going to go for 4th downs. That's who he is. So get yourself ready. They're not going to be many punts or field goals, because he's very confident. They had a quarterback change last week, and Grayson James, who's a transfer, came in and did a good job at SMU. So we've got to go back and relook at you have game plans that you work on all year, and now you've got to change them because he's a totally different quarterback than Castellanos. But they've got a really, really strong running game. They've run for 300 yards in a number of games this year. So they're going to line up, and Robichaux's a really good running back. He's 217 pounds, and they're physical. They've got an offensive line very much like Minnesota's. It's one of the best that we've seen this year. They're huge. They'll bring in an extra tackle or two. They play with really good tight ends. Jeremiah Franklin's number 17 and 88. Kamari Morales played really well for us, and Kamari's done a great job for them. You never know about transferring, whether it works or not. It's really worked for him. So he's doing an outstanding job, and I'll give Kamari a lot of credit. He on a game week, he came all the way down to Sumter for Tylee's funeral, just to be there. So that's pretty special for a young man who's a graduate of here, leaves here and takes his time to come back and help bury a friend. So really proud of him for that, and proud of the young man that he's become. Also, Lewis Boyd's their outstanding receiver, number 11. He's their go-to guy. And defensively, they've got one of the best pass rushers in the country, number 6, Donovan Ezeraku. When I was in TV, I always said number 6, but I had trouble with some of the names. But Ezeraku, he's one of the best in the country. He's got 11 sacks, 14 tackles for loss. He's a guy that you have to pay attention to, because he can make a difference in what he does. And speaking of great pass rushers, Kamen Rucker moved past Lawrence Taylor into 6th all-time with another sack this weekend for his 22nd. He needs 2 more to tie Marcus Jones and Quentin Couples for 4th. So Kamen Rucker, even missing a number of games this year, is still one of the best pass rushers in our history, and also one of the best in the country. Questions? Okay.
Mack, you've lost.
Thanks, Art, for saving me.
You've lost 3 straight the last 2 years. You have the chance to finish with the best record ever. What are you going to do different this week to try and make sure that the season doesn't turn back in that direction?
What we're doing differently, Art, we did in January, and that's try to develop more depth, especially in the defensive line. Defensive linemen get tired, they give out, they get hurt, and we've played 2 deep, in some cases 3 deep every game all year. We've played more at linebacker, we've played more people in the safety. In the secondary, we're playing 3 safeties at least, and sometimes 4. Offensively, we haven't had that luxury at offensive line because we've had so many people hurt. Tight ends, thank goodness, we've got Jake Johnson here, so when we lost one of our best players, one of the best tight ends in the country, we were able to have John Copenhaber and Jake ready. We've lost Darwin Barlow for most of the year. I think he's played 9 plays. We thought he would be a guy who would share time with Omarion and keep him fresher. And then Davion Goss has stepped up because you haven't played Caleb Hood as much. You're on your 3rd quarterback. So you're playing a lot of receivers. I think more than anything else, Art, that we're playing depth. And it's a lot of it's inexperienced. And we thought it would get better as the year would continue. But even more so now that your 3rd quarterback, who didn't go through spring practice, is just learning the system right now, and with a new offensive line. So all of those things should help us finish stronger.
The game that you won Saturday, would it be fair to say perhaps during that stretch, maybe that's a game that you lose in October, but you guys are kind of through the storm and on the other side, so instead of finding a way to lose, you found a way to win?
Yeah, absolutely. I told the staff this morning we would have lost this game before our 3-game stretch. And 100%, a lot because of lack of confidence, because we didn't know that we could win. Defense is playing so much better. They're stopping the run. They're getting after quarterbacks better. We're forcing more turnovers. The kicking game is a lot more consistent than it was early. So for all those reasons, Andrew, I do think this is a game when we had the Pitt, Georgia Tech, we were in the middle of that little stretch, we would have lost.
What are a couple of examples of some things that happened the other night that were signs of good confidence, having that confidence, as opposed to maybe during that stretch where it wasn't as strong?
Right before the half, we mess up the first drive. We get a fake punt, which we haven't had in a while. We go down, we should score, we screw it up. We're 2nd and goal from the 4, and we throw twice and get 2 sacks, which is, there's nothing good about that you can even make up. And then you come back and they drive down, get 2 penalties that put them in a position, they get a field goal. We drive right back down and score. But I thought something else different than what we've done in the past is that middle 10 is we hold them right before the half, because if they score before the half and they get the ball to start second half, that's 14, possibly a 14-point swing. We hold them before the half. We have 1:36 left in the first half with 2 timeouts, and we have a holding penalty on top of that, and drive down and kick a field goal with 5 seconds left. And then we came out the second half and didn't do a good job defensively, and they take it right down and score, but offensively we took it right back and answered. And we didn't answer very well during that time. And I thought that was a lack of confidence on our part. So the fact that we won the middle 10-7, and that we had the ability to do that. And then the other thing, we had a lull in the late third, middle third, early fourth quarter, and then they punt the ball down to the 6 or 9, and we absolutely take it and drive it down to the other end. We drop a pass on 3rd and 3, or we keep the ball and continue to score. We had a tough call again on a double move with Kobe Paysour that would have put us in a great position. But those are things that we weren't doing during that time. We would have a short punt and give them a short field. So we're playing we're playing better complementary football. The coaches are doing a better job of doing what we do. When we got in trouble and we were inconsistent in our passing game, we went right back to Omarion and started running the ball, and everybody in the stadium knew he was going to run it. Everybody in the country knew he was going to run it, and he still made yards. So we're better up front. We said we were going to be better up front. We are. We're running the ball better. And sometimes you're hot at quarterback, and sometimes you're struggling some, and we didn't help Jacoby enough, so it wasn't his best game, and we were still able to win.
Mack, you guys, the last 2 years through 10 games, have had much better records than you do this year, and yet, here we are. It really seems like this team is trending in the right direction, is fresher, maybe at this time, than they were the last couple of years. I mean, is that something that you yourself can feel, that the vibes at this point late in the season are better than they were, even with the record not being exactly where it was the last couple of years?
Yeah, the guys are excited. They're practicing hard, but they've practiced hard all year. I really think, Adam, it's more confidence. They know what they have to do to win. They've actually learned. We have not played consistently well enough on defense to not play our best on offense and win a game. And we did that Saturday. There were 2 drives that we gave up on Saturday, the one right after the half and the one at the end of the game that we've got to correct. Other than that, we played great defense. And Jeff and I had a long discussion this morning about when you're in 1 minute at the end of the game and you got a 14-point lead, just keep playing. I mean, don't back off, and because then you just give stuff up. People do that all the time. Right. And you just got to keep playing, yeah. And even if they drive it, keep them in front of you. Don't give them the big throw down the middle. That saved time for them and gave them a chance to have some excitement. But we're playing better defense. We're forcing turnovers. We're kicking it better. So the offense doesn't have to score 40 points to win every game. And that's the way we've been. If our quarterbacks didn't play well, we lost. And that's not college football. That this is more sound, fundamentally sound college football and how to win a game when you don't have your best stuff. And if you get in shootouts every game, you're going to lose because you can't just go score 40 points every game. That doesn't happen against good teams. And Saturday was a game where we didn't panic on offense. We reestablished ourselves in the fourth quarter. We dominated time of possession in the first quarter and the fourth quarter. And that's what gives you a chance to win.
What's going through your mind on the onside kick? I mean, there's a play maybe in October that the other team recovers. It makes it really exciting at the end.
Yeah, I got on my knees and started praying. I said, come on, God. So, no. That's the most unique onside kick I've ever seen. Give them credit. They all wad up in the middle. NC State, the one that we didn't get 2 or 3 years ago that cost us a game, really. I thought they'd probably bump it. He kicked the heck out of it, and our guys have to get out of the way. And, we've talked about it. It's hard to get out of the way. That short, you think he's going to bump it, and you're sitting down there like this, and then that thing's coming at your face. I thought it was an outstanding kick by them.
But in the losing streak, you probably wouldn't have recovered.
No, I don't think so. Well, we didn't. Against James Madison, they had a similar thing, and it hits a player, and they get it. So, but no, there weren't many good things that happened during that losing streak.
How did those dudes end up on the handstand? Like Rucker, and I think O was out there. It looked like the defensive line was out there.
Well, usually you have the front for those guys are the blockers.
Yeah.
And you got your catchers behind them. But those are all, Bo could be a tight end, Rucker could be a tight end. They've got really good hands, but they're big and they're strong, and you never know what happens in the bottom of those piles. We don't have cameras down there, so it.
You mentioned Chris well, too. It seemed like he had been stacking pretty good games together. It didn't seem quite as sharp. Was that the product of Wake's defense, or just he just had it all, a little bit of it all?
I think it's probably a combination of a lot of things, Chip. It's a combination of both. And when you get in that position, you lean on them when they're hot, and when they're not, you back off and find other ways to get things done.
Mack with Omarian's had 75 offensive touches the last 2 games. Granted, there was an open day in there, but how much workload can he handle, I guess? How do you sort of balance that? And the fact that you're going to have 2 open weeks in the second half of the schedule, does that give you a little bit more latitude, I guess, to do that?
Yeah, Aaron, as I said, we got Darwin Barlow for that reason. We had Caleb Hood for that reason. Caleb's got one more game he can play. So he can either play Saturday and still redshirt and play in the bowl game, or he could play against NC State. So Coach Porter's got him in his back pocket to figure out if Darwin doesn't get back. And we won't know. We don't know this week, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So, but the odds aren't good if we don't know. Then and Davion's done a really good job, but Omarian's a machine. He wants the ball every time. When he comes out, I think I said it Saturday. I've told Larry we may have to use a timeout if it's in the red zone and he's got to come out. Use a timeout to let him go back in, just let him rest, because he's that good. He's just so valuable as a player. On the open dates, we conditioned him. We didn't touch him. And we've had 2 of those, so that's really helped us here at the end of the year to keep him fresh. And he's like a heavyweight boxer out there working out with the trainers. We see him on Monday and say hello, and see him on Sunday when you get back to get ready for the next game. Because he never makes a mistake. He does everything perfect. He's just an unbelievable player, and even a better young person.
Mack, this week is the last road game you guys have of the season. It seems like, particularly on defense, you guys have actually played better on the road. I know there's different circumstances, like one was the opener, one was off the open day, things like that. But I guess kind of in your assessment of it, what kind of do you think leads to that? Leads to you guys kind of playing more, even on defense, just better on the road?
I don't know. There was a year we lost all the games on the road. And then there was a year we won all the games on the road. I remember Mark Packer saying before a year, well, you can't win on the road, so you're not going to win any games this year. And I thought, No, that's fair. We lost them all last year. And I remember Bronco Mendenhall going to practice at high schools so he could get more ready to play on the road, because he said, I just need to practice somewhere other than here to get ready to win on the road. Winning on the road's harder, so I don't know why we've played so well on the road. Wake won 3 games on the road and played their tail off on Saturday night. So I don't think there's an answer to that. I thought our crowd helped us Saturday night, and it was really, really good, and the night game helped, and it was a great atmosphere. So, but proud that we found a way to win at home.
You don't think there's any sort of like routine difference? It just
No, we'd played a 6 o'clock game. We had not played a night game an 8 o'clock game. So we talked about that with the team after Minnesota. So we hadn't played a home game, and Minnesota, I think, ended up 9 o'clock our time because of the delay up there. So coaches get them up all day, and they move them around, and you don't want them laying there sleeping all day. You don't want them watching games all day. So you get up and have walkthroughs about 4 times a day. I'm sure the kids are saying, leave me alone, man, I've had enough. But I thought their energy was good, and I thought they played really hard.
Mack, the only other time you guys have played at BC in your second tenure here was the COVID year in 2020, where they had like cardboard cutouts everywhere. Just what do you remember about how weird that atmosphere was in that game?
It was really weird. There wasn't a person in the stadium. I mean, we had 3,700 or something that were scattered out. And I remember I even after we saw that at BC and I saw the little cutouts, I came home and put all my grandkids on the 50 with cutouts. So they had their little faces down there. But it was so weird. And it was such a weird time for all of us. We had our pregame talk outside because there was nobody out there. We had our postgame talk outside because there was nobody out there, and the doctors didn't want us all in the locker room at the same time. So that was when this stuff was just absolutely crazy. And we were trying to figure out if we were going to get to play. And it's so weird that I remember even the Syracuse game at home where we had about 3,700 people in the stadium. Daz Newsome returned a punt for about 45 yards, and there was no emotion. And I'm thinking, I mean, it's the craziest thing ever. It was worse at Boston College. I mean, you couldn't hear anybody. If a security guard yelled, you could hear what he said. So it was that weird. I remember that I think I got mad at one of their defensive backs for grabbing our tight end or something, and I yelled and it echoed. So you had to be really careful what you said there because it was going to be very public.
I remember there was an officer over by those cardboard cutouts in the end zone. He was the only living person I saw on the field outside of the 2 teams.
It was the weirdest.
nobody,
No.
like, literally no one.
You
No.
guys, did you happen, the Flutie statue out front, they had a mask on.
Did they really? I didn't.
It was pretty cool.
I didn't see that.
It was
So
unique.
no, but that was a very unique place. I've called games up there before, so I really like the setting, and it's so pretty, and it's a great campus, and Chestnut Hill, but I had a game up there every year on my Friday night tours when I was calling games. So it's a place I've got great respect for. They do it right. It's a tremendous academic institution, and they are tough. This week is all about toughness. That's what I told the coaches this morning. It's going to be 2 lines of scrimmage, just like Minnesota. It's going to be a fight. It's going to be such a competitive game. Both teams are going to run the ball. So it's going to be the toughest man wins on this one. And they're both tough, so it's going to be the toughest, the longest. And we've been accused of being soft before. This team has not been accused of being soft. They will fight you.
Are you worried about
Yes.
Because of the confidence and all the things you mentioned, the positive things, in the past, if you look at this week, NC State on deck, road game, feeling good about yourself, overlooking, I know it's kind of cliche, but we see it every week. What are you doing to kind of combat that?
Yeah, they were really excited yesterday and enjoyed. We show a highlight film when we win of the game, and they were cheering and jumping up and down and having a lot of fun. I think this team is different. They're enjoying winning. They're enjoying their streak. They've been at the bottom, and they're seeing the stars and the rainbow and the light, and they know that we don't have a lot of room for error now. They were happy to be bowl eligible, which was good, and they're looking forward to this trip, and they'll have great respect for Boston College. I mean, when you look up and these people are running for 300 yards a game, it makes a difference. I think they've run the ball. We've run the ball maybe one more time than they have, and the two of us have run the ball most in the ACC this year. So this will be a battle. It'll be two that they're going to line up and hit each other right in the face.
And how about for you? I mean, just thinking back to James Madison, you're kind of at a crossroads. The program feels like it is. This is the time of year where people start wondering about the future. Has this strengthened your resolve? How you've seen the team respond to everything and how you responded?
Yes, my job is to be a great leader regardless of the circumstances. And when things are tough, and they were really tough for that 4-game stretch, even tougher with the passing of Ty Lee, it's put me in a position where I need to step up and be strong and help these kids. And that's my only thought process at all, and help them with their mental process. I pray every night when I go to bed that these kids are safe. I said this after the game, but I used to pray that they're safe and happy, and I thought I was overloading God a little bit. Well, let them be happy, but if they're healthy and safe, and their families are, then everything works out. And I do the same for my family every night, because just watching poor Miss September go through what she's been through for 2.5 years, none of us want sick kids, and none of us want to lose a child. I mean, that's just something that I can't imagine. And like I've said, people say that I know how you feel. I don't know how you feel, and I don't want to know how you feel, because I don't want to ever do that. I actually told Sally after we lost Ty Lee that I would want to pass before she did, any of our kids or any of our grandkids, and she said, well, you're a coward. And I said, well, that may be it, but I don't want to be burying my people.
Coach Brown, you've talked in the past about how experienced and young that your O-line was, and now that you've seen how it stands and really kind of leaning into their strengths, what would your assessment now be?
They're doing really well. Wake Forest was really quick. They don't get credit for their defensive line because they're not as big as some others, but they move all the time and they're really quick. So that was a great test for us, because they were penetrating linebackers and they were moving up front. And in the past, that's given us a fit, and we were able to run the ball so well. I was really proud of the guys. And we've just got to help them with pass protection some. They have a couple of really good pass rushers, just like Donovan for Boston College. I mean, he's one of the best in the country. So we can't just sit there and expect our guys to block him. We're going to have to help him.
How much does BC's offense change with Castellanos gone and the new guy in?
The new guy throws better. He's more of a consistent passer because he's tall and he can see. He doesn't run as well, but he can still run. And obviously they made the change, so they felt like that this guy was better than.
More of a fit with what they want
Yeah,
to do?
I think so. Bill's really, you can tell the program's just modeled after a pro-style program. And they're going to be physical, they're going to run the ball, they're going to use a lot of formations, they're going to use tight ends and extra linemen, and they're going to bloody your nose, man. I like watching it. I'm a Bill O'Brien fan. And in fact, just to watch the game plan they had against Florida State, everybody thought Florida State had the upset against Georgia Tech. They were going to come back and just kill Boston College, and I sat there and watched it. And they ran the ball for, I don't have the exact numbers, but you could look it up. It was over 300 yards, or 260-something to like 21. I mean, it was an unbelievable mismatch on being physical. So that definitely got my attention.
With O'Brien being a former Bill Belichick assistant, do you see the influence of Coach Belichick's teams?
Yeah, and I'm very direct, and Bill is very direct, so he and I get along great. I mean, you know exactly where he stands, and if he's got a question with you, if he got a problem with you, he's going to ask you. And that's what I like. I don't like the guys that talk around the corner and beat around the bush. So I really enjoy the year that I've had with him. And when he talks about what's best for college football and what's best for the ACC, I mean, it's not gray. He's going to tell you exactly what he thinks and why he thinks it, and it's well thought out. He's very smart. So I'm a fan.
Mac, I don't want to harp on, okay?
But you are. Are you?
Go up there, they're an outlier in the ACC, they get no attention in Boston, they've got 2 games to get a bowl bid, you and Pitt. It's gonna be a rock fight, and you have to be ready to play from the moment you get off the bus. I mean, what are you gonna do differently?
Here, let me record this for the team, Art. I'm all good. So yeah, do it again. Let me record it. No, here, let me FaceTime them. I'll get them out of class. And
It's your weekly art chance in six.
no,
This is the game that if they win, they get a bowl bid. If you lose, you're gonna have a letdown against State and Omari might not play in a bowl game and you might lose 3 in a row again. You got to win this game. So,
I got it recorded.
no, come on.
Okay. No, I'm serious too. Art, every week's that way. You're so negative. Oh my God. You just got world's coming to an end. You're going to lose this one. You won't be ready for State. Then you're going to lose your bowl game. Omari won't play. God, we just went from winning 9 to winning 6 and being miserable. So thank you for your thought. All right, let me start over and answer it in a professional manner. Since you and I have been friends a long time. Absolutely, Wake was in the same position exactly this week. They're fighting for a bowl game. We knew we were going to get their best shot, and we got it. I'm not sure what it is about Carolina, but our new coaches, Ted and Jeff, they come in and say, why is it that we always get everybody's best shot? It's unbelievable that people come in here and play. We've lost 4 games in a row, and people are playing us like it's a national championship. And we can't figure it out. We get everybody's best shot. And I said, it's a great compliment. So don't gripe about it. Let's use it. I just said it's going to be the most physical game of the year. It's going to be a very difficult game. They're going to come and hit us right in the mouth. We need to win. They need to win. It's that way across the country, everywhere. So absolutely, we are going up there with the attitude to win. We're not going to be soft. We're not going to be not ready to play. We're not going to be arrogant. We're going to be ready to play and get after them. And it will be a really hard game, and they're really a good team. Most of their games have come down to the end. That's who they are. That's why they go for 4th and short. That's why they don't kick field goals. They try to score touchdowns. Like Wake, they're really good in 3rd and 4th down situations because they run the ball on 1st down. Like Wake, they're really good in red zone situations because they can run the ball and they use their tight ends a lot. So this will be a very, very difficult game.
But unlike Wake, they're bigger and stronger.
Do what?
Unlike Wake, they're bigger and stronger.
Yeah, that we can't, I wish they weren't. We can't call them and say, don't use your best guys. I mean, that's what they've got. So, and all we can do is do our best.
Well, you could call.
No, Bill would say, excuse me?
You can say you said you were correct.
Yeah, no, he wouldn't put up with that.
I remember in August practice, maybe 2 weeks ago, early, one of the practicals you got to watch, you're telling the guys what the temperature is going to, weather's going to be like a couple places, so you got to get conditioned. You're always looking ahead to weather. What are the conditions going to be like this week? And if it's a little bit ugly, how do you simulate it? Because you guys have pretty much had pretty good conditions.
Yeah, right now we're looking at, it'll be exactly like it was last Saturday night. It's going to be 48, 49, and we'll have sun, so it'll be unlike Saturday night. I thought Saturday was perfect. I thought it was going to be really cold, and it wasn't as much. And we practice every morning in the 40s, so that helps us for this time of the year. We haven't gotten a time on the state game, right? So we don't know when it's going to be. But I'm.
Cold when you guys first drop for warm-ups.
It will be, but it's going to be very similar to in the morning.
Yeah.
So, and I actually checked it yesterday because we check it every day at game time to make sure that we're seeing what we've got. And we told the players last week that it was cold in the mornings when we practiced, and we said coming out for the game on Saturday, you want to play in the pros? So you're going to play in Green Bay? You're going to play in New York? Come on, man. You're going to play in Chicago? You're going to play in Cleveland? And you're going to worry about it being 50? and you're going to be bundled up, so don't walk out there with gloves and hoodies on and all that mess if you want to play in the NFL. Grow up, man. This is a football game, and Boston's the same. One of them told me yesterday at lunch, he's a freshman, he's so young, he'd never been to Boston, hadn't been on a plane many times. I said, you excited about going to Boston? He said, it's cold. And I said, how do you know it's cold? They all told me it was cold. And I said, did they tell you what time of the year or what time of the day? And he said, no, they just told me it was cold. So that's your freshman. So we'll show them that during the week. Sunny and 50 will be warm. We'll be really, really lucky to go to Boston. When I saw the schedule and saw Boston in November, I said, that can be a disaster.
Mack, we were getting into it a little bit earlier, with maybe some of the inconsistencies from Jacoby the other night, especially when he'd been playing so well. Like, what do you think you guys need to revisit maybe this week with him? I understand it's still just a handful of starts for this guy in his career, but what do you guys need to get back into with him? Because it did look like he was off and not at his sharpest. Yeah,
We got to protect him better, number one, because we didn't help him. He had some of those throws that looked bad. He had people in his face, and he couldn't step. But Chip's coming out in a minute. He'll go over that. He and Clyde. We're so lucky to have Clyde Christensen. I mean, Chip and Clyde are two of the best in the country at what they do. So he's got great help in what he's doing. And he's been so good. If he's a little bit off, it looks worse. He made some great throws. The throw to JJ was an unbelievable throw. He did it on the run. He's scrambling for the touchdown, diving in. We get so we've been watching Sam and Drake, so we get so our expectations. The double move to Kobe Paysor at the end of the game, that there was, I mean, it was a perfect throw. Yeah, it was a perfect throw. So he did a lot of great things. And it's funny, on the ball that was fumbled, and I've talked to the coaches about this. It's amazing how many little things that you do every day that come up in a ball game. It's a draw, either a draw play or a pass on our fumble at the 6. Yeah. He's dropping back, he lifts his arm, and Omarian's got his hand up, and he hits his elbow. And that's how the ball comes loose. Now, you do that 1,000 times, and the difference in an inch and a half might have cost us that game because we fumbled the ball. So we've gone back to try to talk to this team about what you do on Thursday, on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday is going to determine how we play in the game. So when you think about it, that's it. Stripping their quarterback for a fumble that led to a game winner. The drop by Power Eccles and the interception for the touchdown. I mean, it's just his proper drop. If he doesn't drop properly, we don't get the touchdown. If Jacoby throws the ball, it may be a first down from maybe a touchdown. JJ may break, and JJ's wide open, but he drops the ball, and you think it slips out of his hands. It doesn't. It hits Omarion.
Yeah, I thought he started to throw and held back, and it slipped out.
No, it actually touches Omarion's got his hand up for the draw, and that's one of the problems with RPOs. Is it a run and pass option? And all those decisions have to be made under pressure quickly. So he made the decision to throw the ball on an RPO, and while he was doing it, Omarion doesn't know whether it's a draw play or not. So that's what you get into. It's just so many minute things that happen. The end of the Stanford-Louisville game. I mean, people are questioning whether Jeff should have thrown the ball. There's 11 seconds left. You're at the plus 45-yard line. Of course you're going to throw the ball in the end zone for a Hail Mary at the end of the game in a tie game. They throw the ball in the end zone. It's incomplete. There's 5 seconds left. They throw a quick out. They're not going to be close enough. There's 1 second left. They got to throw a Hail Mary. And that's their chance to win the game until somebody hits them out of bounds. And then every day we work on having no post-whistle penalties. That's a post-whistle penalty. And then every day you work on extra point field goal protection or block. And one of their guys gets offsides. So it's a 20-yard penalty, 15 for the personal foul and 5 that cost them a game. and the field goal goes through about this far, on a 52-yard field goal in 57. So it's just amazing how many little things like that end up changing games when you work on it every day. And it's, I was even talking to Aaron Boone about the Yankees. We said, drop ball by a great player in center field in the 5th inning. Errant throw by a shortstop to a third baseman in the 5th inning. Pitcher and first baseman get confused on who's going to the base in the 5th inning. They do it every day. It's the first day of spring training. So all of these things we think about in football, and it comes down to a fumble. It comes down to a running back and a quarterback being a little too close to each other. It comes down to a protection where a guy gets hit as he's throwing it with a guy wide open. It comes down to a call by an official. I still think in my lifetime, I hope that we take calls upstairs that are game-changing calls and not just sit there and say that was a bad call and let it go, because the team that's playing the best should have the chance to win. So why don't we let the replay official sit there and say, pick up the flag, that wasn't holding. If it matters, you can't do it every time, but it's not going to take any more time. Pick up the flag. It's not pass interference. Pick it up. And then we move on, and the team that plays the best has the best chance to win. And we're taking the human error out of it. And for what it costs to win or lose a game, we should have the team that plays the best win. Art's right. We don't need to lose the last games like we have. I mean, that's so if it comes down to a play at Boston College and the official gets it wrong and we lose the game, that's not fair to these kids. It's not fair to North Carolina. It's really not fair to the official because he might have had the wrong angle. They do this part-time. So I think we should have the guy upstairs say, pick it up. Pick it up.
This will be the last one. Earlier you were talking about Travis Shaw. He's the best game he had played thus far. You talked a lot about, obviously, Sam Kingdom's role in helping bringing him along. What's going to be the key, in your opinion, of kind of him continuing the level he played the other day and just kind of maintaining that?
I think the biggest thing is that he's in great shape. He's about 330 now, where he was 375 when he got here. And he's had a sore knee his whole career, but less weight helps the pressure off the knee. And I think playing less, he's probably played an average about 20 plays a game, because that's what our defensive linemen are usually playing, 20 to 30. And bringing in Josh Harris has really helped him, because he sees Kevin Hester and Josh Harris, and he sees how they're playing, and they're more role models for him right now. So, and he wants to do his part. And we got enough players now that you gotta produce in practice to be able to play, and that helps us as well.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.